Miriam and Benny and their parents, the parents had applied for visas to come to settle in South Africa. And then they announced that if you've been issued with a visa and you've got to use it by the end of that year, and if not, you won't get another visa. But if you do have family and you come, your family can join you at a later stage.
Wait, what year was it?
I don't know. But Miriam is 96. She came when she was 7.
Oh,
So it's nearly 100 years ago.
sure.
So anyway, my father and my uncle here, the Aubrey Katz's father, begged them to Miriam, my aunt and uncle, to come without the children, leave them with somebody, with my Boba, which they did. She had a friend, a non-Jewish woman called Martha, lovely lady, and she moved in with the twins. They were 5, and for 2 years they lived with my Boba.
Sure.
And when they got their visas for Martha and the children, she brought them over.
What?
And she lived till 104, and she lived in Johannesburg eventually, and she was their mother. You know, they were always so fond of her. And I've got in this top cupboard.
Amazing.
I don't feel like getting up there now, but she just did the most wonderful embroidery. Do you remember the Madeira cloths that we
yes.
used to be embroidered like that? Wonderful things. And she made a cover for Pesach, you know, for the matzah cover. You know,
Who
for the
did this?
Afrikaner. Martha.
Sure.
She was very good. She eventually married a Russian here, apparently, and she had a child, but he died young. I don't know what. Something happened to him. So Miriam and Benny remained to be her children. And she was in an old aged home in Joburg, and they used to visit her regularly.
Oh.
But that's a true story.
Sure.
So where's Benny now?
He's living in one of those. I don't think he's in the retirement place anymore. I think I spoke to his daughter a little while ago. Somewhere else.
In which country?
In Joburg.
Oh, I see. Okay, but she's in Australia.
Yeah, he lost his wife long ago, and he's got a son who lives in England. He's a dentist, and he never contacts the family.
Oh. But Miriam, so how come she's in Australia?
Well, she had 2 husbands, both called Kaplan.
Hopefully not at the same time.
No. The first one was a doctor, and it was in the old days. My mother went to visit Joburg, and she went to visit Miriam and finds that she's living with a man. And my mother was very upset. Came back and told my auntie and uncle that she's got to get married. And they got married by special license. I don't know what that means, but I know it's a special license. And he was a doctor. And you know, she had a son, Rodney, the same age as Norman Paris. And she wasn't married too long to this first husband. He was a drug addict in those days. You didn't know about that. And she came to Cape Town with Rodney, and she stayed with her parents at a tiny little flat in Observatory, near the Cecile Hospital on the main road.
Oh, I do drama
Yeah,
now.
they lived there, but tiny. And her father was a very brilliant man. When he was in Russia, he was a teacher, he was very well read, and he came to South Africa. My father gave him a job in the shop. They brought him to the Strand, they gave them a flat upstairs, and before the children came, and he was selling like a salesman. When he discovered that they're making a profit, he thought he wouldn't work there anymore. I mean,
he's a communist.
A communist. I don't know where the money was going to come from if he didn't make a profit. So he left and he went to Cape Town with his family, and he joined the city tramways. He was a bus conductor. He was a brilliant man.
Oh.
And he lived many years, and then he started losing his eyesight. And when Graham was about 6 weeks old, he jumped off the top of the Kruger building in Cape Town.
Oh,
he went
God.
to the hospital at Kruger to see the eye specialist, and they told him he's going to go blind. So he was on the bus with my auntie, and he just said to her, "Go home, I want to do something in town." So she went on the bus, and he went to the top and he jumped off.
Oh my God.
I lost my milk. I was feeding Graham from the shock.
Oh my
Yeah, he was a very nice man. Uncle Sam, with red hair. No,
But that was not related to Sam Melkinson.
no, that's my mother's son. That was a real loony. You remember
He
him?
loved you.
Yeah, you remember? Used to my mother
to
had
come
a
here.
cousin, another Sam, another communist.
He always thought that the spies were after him.
Yeah, yeah. You
I mean, I
remember?
was going to put this on
We
YouTube,
used to
but on
take him
second
back.
thought.
He lived in Fishhook, in a house, and one day he went to England on a trip. I don't know what he was about his communism, and Uncle Sam, and he sent me a telegram that he was coming by plane, and I said we'll come and fetch him. Went to the airport. There he was with his luggage and his little typewriter took with him. He used to all the E's and O's used to make holes in the paper. And when we got driving out of the airport, he saw a police van. He said, "They know I'm here." And we saw an ambulance. He thought they were all following him. So we took him to his place where he'd been living in Fishhook. And he opens the door. It was like a few rooms in the house. I got the shock of my life. He'd been away about maybe 6 months. There was dirty plates on the table. It was just him. Newspapers all over the place. I've never seen such a mess in my life. I thought, I'm not staying here. I'm not cleaning his house. It was very mad.
How are you related to him?
No, it's a distant relation. His mother and my mother were second cousins. Or
Oh,
something.
it's
not
not so
very
distant.
But in fact, I'll see they were a big family. They had about 6 sons and 1 daughter.
What?
And they lived in Port Elizabeth. That's where originally. And then they moved to Joburg and one was in Bloemfontein and they were all over the place. But my mother is an only child, so she loved all her cousins.
Oh.
That, wherever she found a cousin.
Including the lunatics.
Yeah. But you know what my mother's told us? When Sam actually got married, briefly, and he came with
This
his
one?
wife, Sam Malkinson,
The crazy one.
the crazy communist.
Yeah.
And the other one wasn't crazy. And
But was a communist.
What was I going to tell you? Oh yes, he came to the Strand spent a weekend. So my mother, I think my father sent the driver to bring them back to the Strand. And my mother came out with the 3 daughters, and he says to his wife, my mother was Ray has got quantity, but we'll have quality. My mother was so cross, she says, I've got quality and quantity.
What a chutzpah.